Hi, it's Dave here. Like many of you, I develop my new WordPress sites locally on my own computer, just because it's generally faster and more convenient than working with them on your remote hosting package. But I ran into a problem the other day, actually being able to access my local sites on my own computer. And if you develop sites locally as well, there's a big chance this has affected you too. It's a big problem affecting lots of people at the moment. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you what the problem is and why it's happening. I'll tell you the easy fix, and I'll give you a couple of bonus pointers on how to develop WordPress sites locally if you don't do it already. So I'll show you what was happening. Let's pretend my local development URL is http example.dev. I've used it for months. It's not HTTPS, and it uses the .dev top-level domain, or TLD, at the end. I've always used .dev at the end of my local URLs, mainly so that they just don't get confused with a live domain, which might be something like .com, and I know lots of developers do the same. So I'll try and access this local WordPress site now. Boom. Okay, I get an error message warning me my connection isn't private, which is like when you try and visit a site with HTTPS that actually isn't secure. And if we look at the address bar now, you'll see that my HTTP version of the URL has been automatically redirected to HTTPS. Now we're looking in Google Chrome here, but the same happens in Safari and Firefox too. So, well, after a bit of digging, this is what's happened. Google bought the .dev TLD a while back, which I hadn't realized, but they didn't do anything with it for a long time, so it didn't really affect anything. Then recently, they decided in a recent update to Google Chrome that all visits to a .dev URL will now be forced to HTTPS. And because this site, my local development site, doesn't have an SSL certificate, of course we get the warning. Bit annoying. There's an easy fix though. Now that fix is just to change the .dev domain just to something else like .local or .test. Now I use local by Flywheel to create and manage all my local WordPress sites. It's brilliant. I'll drop a link to it below the video, but it's really easy to change a domain name. So here's my local by Flywheel control panel. Here's the example site selected. I just set up to show you this. Here's the site domain, and I can change it here. So let's go with example.local instead. Click Change Domain. Now we have to put in our computer's admin password. And now, if we now visit http example.local, we're in. No worries. By the way, of course, another fix for this could have been, instead, just to make the site SSL. Now, in Local by Flywheel, each site has an SSL tab. You can click Trust here, and that creates your own self-assigned SSL certificate for this site. But I'd actually rather change from .dev anyway, mainly just to get out of Google's way. Now, I say that Local by Flywheel is brilliant. Some people do struggle to get it to work on their machines. There is a Windows version, and it is supposed to work on Windows, but it can be a bit hit and miss sometimes for some people. Another option is Desktop Server. Now they have an article on their site on how to change the domain names on your local WordPress sites that you created with Desktop Server. Now it's not quite as easy as Local by Flywheel, and of course to do this you would have had to have created your local sites with Desktop Server in the first place. And of course you can change the domain using whatever local development tool you use. They'll have details in their documentation, I'm sure. And finally, if you don't develop new WordPress sites locally right now, then Local by Flywheel is a great option to check out first. It's fairly new, so they are still ironing out a few bugs. For some people, sadly, it just doesn't seem to work at all, especially Windows users, which is a bit of a shame. Now, Desktop Server isn't anywhere near as nice a user interface. It's a bit clunky, but many more people report success with that. So give that a try if Local by Flywheel doesn't work out for you. Now, to migrate your site from your local setup to your live hosting, I'd recommend the brilliant all-in-one WP migration plugin. It makes exporting and importing entire sites an absolute doddle, and it handles switching over the domain names and URLs for you. So You've got no need to fiddle about with find and replace or anything like that. It's really great. Okay, so that's how to fix a problem with your local sites being forced onto HTTPS and therefore not being able to access them. Just change the domain name from .dev to .test or .local and all should be well. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up below, drop me a comment, and if you've got any questions, just ask and I'll do my best to help. All right, I'll catch you soon. Cheers.